Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Andrew Rimby, and welcome back to ITBR Rewatches Queer as Folk, episode 10, with a very special guest of mine, a good friend of mine, someone who's been on the podcast before, Triston Pullen. Hi, Triston.
Hey,
So, if you haven't heard Tristan's episode with us on the ITBR, it was such a great discussion about theater, and you gave a lot of advice for those who are going into directing. So, Tristan, for everyone out there, if you're wondering, what all of his accolades are, he's a director, a playwright, an educator. I think it's a scenographer. Is that how you say it?
photographer. Yes, yes.
First, I was going to say a stenographer, but a
No, I'm
stenographer
not a
is very
stenographer.
different.
Not very different. Very different.
Um, so Tristan graduated with his BFA in acting and a minor in scenic design, hence the scenography relates to scenic design. Graduated from the University of Memphis with an MFA in directing, and I got to know him from the Walt Whitman Initiative in New York City, and then our paths just intertwined. So it's wonderful to have your performing arts mind here with a TV show and all things soap opera and queer with Queer as Folk. So, hey, Tristan.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
So you were even telling me before I hit record that it was so enjoyable to return to Queer as Folk. So how did the show 2000, 2001, now we're in 2001 with episode 10. How did it
Well,
enter? Yeah.
well, I'm an infant.
Oh,
So in
okay.
2001, I was all of 6 years old. So
Yeah.
I remember, I had gay uncles, and I was actually very blessed, if you want to say, as a young queer kid in the Bible Belt of Texas, that I had that representation in my life. And I think
Mm,
that's one reason why I never felt the need to like come out. I just existed because all these people were just existing around me. Um, but we had rules in our family that to this day I didn't quite understand. We could sit on a couch and watch L Word as a family, but I could not watch Queer as Folk or Brokeback Mountain. So when
mm.
everyone was asleep, Army crawled into the living room and would watch it. I don't think I was watching it at 6 years old, but I definitely wasn't like middle school. Definitely in middle school.
Wait, is that because of like the taboo around two men being sexual together, you think?
I don't know because there were gay characters, gay male characters in the L Word.
Mm,
So I never quite understood it. Maybe it was that it just made my dad uncomfortable, which I mean, we could go into a deep dive thesis on like the male psyche, why it's okay for women to sleep together and not men, like that whole
mm.
societal norm. But yeah, he was very much against it. And I remember like the first time I watched Brokeback, I was like, this is what you didn't want me to watch. Like this is like PG compared to
Yeah,
most things. And
yeah.
Queer as Folk, I mean, it revolutionized the way I saw gay men and gay culture. Um, and it really taught me that there wasn't one form.
Mm,
Like, I think that, and not speaking from your experience, but like general experiences that we see like this Greek Adonis body type, and we all want to like fit this. And Queer as Folk was this beautiful thing where there was different body types, different people, and I just saw a community. Um, but yeah, and I mean it was taboo, so it kind of was like, you know, that very scarlet letter, let's run into the woods to sin. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I mean it was probably like quintessential to my like
Mm,
teenage years for sure.
yeah. Wait, are you calling me a Greek Adonis, Tristan? No, just kidding. I'm
Andrew.
not a Greek Adonis by any
No,
stretch of the
no, no,
imagination.
no. I might be
But
like Zeus when he's 50, but that's about it.
oh no,
Yeah.
he's a zaddy. What are you talking
Oh no,
about?
he is a
I like a
zombie.
50-year-old Zeus.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, well, since we're talking about Queer Eye and there's definitely sex, my mother, who I absolutely adore, she would probably kill me when I say this. She has named the era of my life as the sex god era. So I've been like on
Oh,
this whole trip, and I don't even know what that means. So I think she thinks she knows what's happening in life, and she doesn't. Because
yeah, good for Miss Pullen. I like
yeah,
that.
no, for real, yeah.
Well, what I love about episode 10 is it's called aptly Queens of the Road. So I
Mhm.
feel like there's almost a Priscilla Queen of the Desert homage happening in the title. Um, but it came out February 18th, 2001 is when it premiered. And I think the writer is let's see. So oh, the writer was Doug Union, who I don't know his work, but I really love the writing in this one. And I thought it was so great that you came on for episode 10 because we have so many theater allusions and references that I didn't even realize until I was rewatching. And it was directed by John Le Acure. Very nice, I guess, French name here. It says Dr. David pressures Michael to move in with him. Brian's loft is burglarized. Justin runs away to New York City. Lindsay and Melanie begin to drift apart. So there's a lot happening in this episode, I thought. Um, but like what stuck out, we don't have to go in chronology, but what was something that maybe shocked you or intrigued you about this episode?
So when I was watching this, I kept having the notion and the argument of like moving in, when to move in, when to not. And
Hmm.
I was like, oh, Michael's being logical. Oh, Michael's being logical. And because that's something I battle with. So I was very much on that journey of
Mm.
like, when do you move in? When do you do this? And like, are we going to be the traditional like U-Haul lesbians? And then are we going to do like all these things? And so that's what really stuck to me. But then also when Justin is in New York City and he's in the hotel room and Brian busts in and he said, well, New York's amazing. There's all these men, there's all this. I went clubbing till 6 a.m. It was just so relatable because when I moved to New York and lived there, I was in my 20s. I couldn't even go to a bar. And I remember all of the guys that I was working on Broadway with or off Broadway said, you need to go to the Eagle. You need to go to the Eagle. Come to the Eagle with us. And I remember walking to the door, saw the red light, freaked out, and just went back to my apartment. And it was very much the Justin thing is that I wanted to be there. I had all the intentions of living my big queer life, but it kind of scared me. And I just stayed there because who I really wanted or what I really wanted wasn't in those spaces, you
Mm.
know? Um, so that really stood out to me. But I will say that I found myself laughing when someone said, oh, I can't remember the exact line, but someone was like, all right, thank you, Arthur Miller. And I was like, oh, that was so funny.
Yeah.
Like, is
Oh,
subtle.
Debbie says you're all my
Yeah,
sons.
you're all my sons. They're like, oh, yeah,
Hmm.
thank you, Dr. Miller.
Yeah, I like jotted that down because I knew you would enjoy that
Yeah,
pun.
that and
Um,
the
yeah.
Barbara Streisand moment. I was like, who are they talking about? And then I it clicked. So yeah.
Yeah. We'll get to the road trip because I found the road trip to be like full of so many madcap.
Hmm.
Um, like that is the Priscilla Queen of the Desert. I felt that the writer was having so much fun with this storyline. But like going back to what you said in terms of the moving in storyline, because that's where our episode starts. And I agree with you. I feel that in a gay male relationship, the whole like moving in and not even moving in, but like taking it to this next level is such a push and pull. And I think there's a taboo. There's definitely a taboo when it comes to two men moving in compared to two women moving in. Like it's almost going back to you watching the L Word as a family, but not watching Queer as Folk.
Right.
That like in my opinion, I feel David is really in this fantasy realm in this episode. Like he keeps like talking to Michael at the beginning of the episode about like you're gonna come out of the shower and like we're going to make breakfast and it's like nothing they're spontaneously doing because like Michael's just having fun like shopping and they're walking the streets of Pittsburgh. They're going to the comic book store and David's like somewhere else. Like he's not with Michael in the moment. He's already on this moving in vision.
Yeah, well, I think it's that I'm fixing to call myself out here, but I think it's that we have that very heteronormative lens
Hmm.
placed on us, which I live there. Like I live in that very heteronormative white picket fence, blah 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 blah. But like also, I think I read this whole article the other day about how gay men, when they are dating, especially in their 20s and 30s, it's like they're in their teens because coming
Mm.
out was almost like a new puberty that they have to go through. So there's like a whole nother maturity level and all of these things. And
Mhm.
that usually the love that we have in the very beginning is an immature love. And it's that rainbow fantasy. It's the let's move in. It's the magical. It's romanticizing everything, romanticizing eating breakfast, romanticizing like him saying, me just waking up and looking in and seeing through the foggy mirror the man I love taking a shower. Like, all right, Whitman, calm down. But like, like it's so romanticized because he sees what those elderly men wanted in, his life, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and it is like being in a relationship now. Um, there's nothing wrong with the romantic fantasy or the vision. I mean, right? It's beautiful cuddling. I love waking up and holding each other. Like that to me is very beautiful. I just feel from the get-go. And again, I think both David and Michael have um their wires are crossing. Like they're just not speaking the same love language here. Um, but it seems as if David is really setting up expectations that Michael's not going to adhere to. And like we'll see that eventually at the end of the episode. And I'm like, David, like you're not even listening to Michael. Like Michael's trying, but he just didn't match your vision of this 50-year-old relationship couple who you introduce him to. Like this, I don't know, we have to talk about it. What did you think of the two men who are at this dinner party with Michael and David who've been in a relationship for 50 years? It feels like a
Well,
test.
it does feel like a test. Hold on, let me grab my charger
Yeah,
real
yeah, yeah,
quick.
go ahead.
Feel like it was a test, but also I think it was the dream. Because let's be real, like I don't know any gay men who've been married for 50 years.
Yeah.
Like that's what my grandparents did. I mean, that sounds amazing to find your life partner and be able to spend the rest of their lives together. But I think there's a huge part of the story that we're missing, and that I almost missed, and I rewind to watch it, is they talk about being in World War II
Mm,
and how like there was a place where anyone could go get a blowjob because these were war times. People were dying and sex made you feel alive. So right there, I could see one set of generation as gays. Then we have the David and Michael generation. And then I was even comparing it to mine, is where under different given circumstances, to use a play term, is that these men had to live and love under different circumstances. So if you survived war and now you're living in the era, you've already been, in the closet, you're hiding this love, you're probably just roommates and you've been putting up, you do this. And now Michael and David are being able to be out and open and doing all these things, where
mm,
now where you and I are, no
mhm.
one even thinks twice about this stuff anymore, really.
Yeah. And we're not even Justin's generation.
Oh, I think
Like,
I am
where
Justin's
are
generation.
you Justin's generation?
Yeah, I'm Justin's generation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wait. Well, I'm just saying in terms of age. Like you're not Justin's age at this time. Like
Mm.
in 2001, Justin is 17.
Oh no, yeah, no,
No,
I'm
no,
yeah,
no. That's what
yeah,
I mean. That's what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah, yeah. So I think that like even there's a progression.
Hmm.
And I think that that's part of the storyline that I wish that they could have dived deeper into, is that you and I have been talking about the show I told you to watch, Fellow Travelers, and there's this kind of
Yep.
similar theme here about one wanting that heteronormative life. I want you. I don't
Mm.
want to just fuck you or sleep in a bed. I want you.
Yeah.
And then, I see that here too. And I think it's just kind of, even in today's world, we still ask those same questions, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was gonna say, wait, Tristan, how old are you again?
I'm 27. I turned 28 at the
Oh,
end of the
you're
month.
27. Okay, so yeah, that's right. You're younger than me. Okay, I'm 31. So
Yeah.
like I'm just trying to place in our mind. Justin, I was his age in 2010. Yeah, 2010. I was 17. So if I think I'm doing my math correctly. Um,
I would have been
so I'm like
2000.
10 years separated from Justin during the series.
Yeah.
With age. So like we're talking about someone who's 41 would be
Yeah.
I hope you
Yeah.
Justin's age
enjoyed
now. This
And
portion from the Ivory Tower Boiler Room podcast. To listen to the rest of the episode and watch it, head to our Patreon. That's patreon.com/ Ivory Tower Boiler Room. And just for you all, I'm giving a promo deal for our Patreon. So for 1 week, you get a free trial. Join the ITBR professor level, which is $10 a month. But again, you get a 1 week free trial and you can watch the rest of this episode and also see our full catalog of unedited and ad-free video episodes, exclusive audio episodes, including Married to Pippi's True Crime and Academia series, our Queer as Folk and Smash TV show rewatch podcast episodes. You're going to unlock everything. And also, you'll see that every month we host a book club. So you can also join our book club. Okay, see you all on the Patreon.